What is going on, everybody? Is Alex coming back at you with another video. Today we are doing the Miami Dolphins. So, little background on the Miami Dolphins. In this series, they've pulled quite a couple upsets because of their location. Now, people have been a little bit pissy about this, but at the same time, I think that people heavily underestimate climate as a major factor. As a person who's been to multiple different climates, I can tell you that each one has a very unique feel, and your body reacts very differently to it when you try to do some form of physical exercise. So, for example, in Arizona, I remember going to probably the highest elevation point in Arizona. I was also in Switzerland. Being at the highest points and trying to do stuff like play football, and then like play basketball and stuff, you get winded very easily versus being down here in California versus being in Nashville, Tennessee. Like, humidity plays a huge factor, it makes the air thick. You guys get the picture. Climate is a huge deal, and I think a lot of people underestimate it. And Miami is a very particular place with a very particular climate, and it's not a huge surprise to me why they upset a lot of teams in Miami. It's not that they have the better team, it's that they have a more unique environment, and people just for some reason have not caught on to that. People talk about it with Denver, but like, why not talk about the exact opposite with Miami? So I love the Miami Dolphins organization. I think they're doing a great job. I think Brian Flores is an amazing head coach. I don't think, or is he a head coach or GM? I'm pretty sure he's head coach. He's a very solid, very smart man. He looks like a leader. That's the thing. When you look at him, you actually see a leader, and I think that is a very crucial aspect of every organization. And they're taking this team and they're not rushing it. That's the great thing. I think they're doing an amazing job there with their organization. And, I mean, looking at the organization on the field and off the field, they're doing some amazing things. And, I mean, I also love their colors, but Miami as a whole organization is absolutely splendid. I think they're one of the best in the NFL when it comes to healthiness of an organization. So, very big difference from what they used to be. They've made a big turnaround, and caps off to them. Let's discuss the team. So, at quarterback, this is the biggest question mark for this year. Is it Fitzpatrick, Rosen, or is it going to be Tua coming back healthy? We don't know. So, discussing each one in their own right. Fitzpatrick, amazing mentor, has these insane games. He's named Fitzmagic for a reason. And he has these little stints where he just goes off, and then he cools off. So he's very off and on. He's very hot and cold, and that's what makes him a volatile starter. Is that you really don't know which Fitzpatrick you're gonna get. Are you gonna get Fitzpatrick or Fitzmagic? You never know. Rosen, I mean, this guy has not really had a single chance to be in a very healthy organization until now. And they were a complete dumpster fire last year. Surprising that they did as well as they did. So, again, caps off to the coaching staff for being able to pull some wins out of their ass. But still, then Tua, he just had like a hip fracture, a pelvic fracture, and he's looking better than ever. So, cheers to him. I mean, he's had a lot of injuries, but I heard that the ankle surgeries that he's had has actually made his ankles stronger than they would have been without the surgery. So we'll actually see if these surgeries actually make him better and more healthy as time goes on. Remember, Frank Gore had 3 ACL tears before coming into the NFL, and then he was healthy the entire time. So, again, injury is not... It's a big red flag, but at the same time, it's not the biggest red flag because of the fact that guys like Frank Gore have proven that you can stay healthy, Nick Chubb as well, stay healthy even though you suffer some brutal injuries. Looking at running backs, they have, I'm pretty sure, they have one of the running backs from the 49ers who I'm blanking on right now. I don't think it's Raheem Mostert. It actually might be Raheem Mostert. And then they have Kalen Ballage. So, again, trying to think of the guy that the 49ers traded to them. Okay, so just checked on it, and it was actually Matt Breida. That was the one guy I was blanking on, which I think is better, honestly. He was the better running back out of those two. And Matt Breida was a great choice by the Dolphins. Traded a 5th-round pick for him. Matt Breida and then Kalen Ballage are having kind of like a dynamic duo running back set right now. And if I'm not mistaken, they might have gotten Eno Benjamin in the 7th round, but don't quote me on that one. I just know whatever team stole Benjamin very late was a very smart idea. But still, they by adding in Matt Breida, that was a brilliant idea because Kalen Ballage, he really is not a bell cow back. I liked him personally coming out of college, but I never scouted him before. I just saw him play a couple times. I was like, oh, he looks kind of good. So that was far before I actually started looking into what makes running backs pretty solid. And again, this year will be the first test to see if the running backs that I scouted, I ranked, are actually foolproof. Whether I actually saw the right skills, the right traits. Because I don't know. Like this was the first year. This last year was the first year I really dug deep into the tape. And then this year right now is the one where I'm looking at guys before and then watching their progression. So keep your ears tuned out for that as well, because after this series, I am going into going back to, I was starting it right before this series, going back to the 7-round mock draft per team, because, I mean, you guys need to let me know what you guys want, because we got a bunch of new people in here. Very grateful for you guys, but we need some more ideas coming in here, and I know I started the 7-round mock series per team. I want to end that as well, but if you guys want to see stuff, let me know. Okay, so wide receivers, they got Devontae Parker. I'm pretty sure they might still have Albert Wilson, but regardless, Devontae Parker is the big guy we need to talk about. And then they have Preston Williams. Those two guys, to me, are the actual difference makers. Devontae Parker, we've been waiting for him to have a blowout year. In the second half of last season, he had the most yards and touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken, and receptions out of anybody in the NFL. So, I mean, he has a lot of freaking potential. And then Preston Williams, he's 6'4", extremely fast, and he just had off-the-field issues that he's been putting away. Like, this guy, if he stays healthy, is absolutely amazing. I don't know if you guys caught on to it. I just did. I've been doing this the entire fucking video, so apologies for that. But tight end, they have... Who do they have? They have Mike Gesicki. I like him a lot. Very fast. Obviously not the best blocker. Not a real number one guy yet. He can develop into it, though. So we'll see how that happens. He is actually a pretty damn solid receiving tight end, though. And then on the offensive line, they're working on it. You know, you have Austin Jackson there. I'm pretty sure they got a guy out of Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns at guard. I think his name is Robert Hunt or something like that. He was pretty solid. Just adding in more line pieces is key. They have Eric Flowers there as well. And it's a work in progress, guys. I think next year will be the final year where they really start putting the pieces together and then building up a very solid offensive line for their successor, Tua Tagovailoa. Then looking at the defensive line, I've been thinking about this a lot. I've been questioning it, so I'm going to look this up right now. Okay, so I did just confirm that Shaq Lawson is on the Miami Dolphins. Amazing pickup because he has a lot of potential. Young stud pass rusher. He still is pretty damn raw, though. So, I mean, he's not going to be changing the favors of Miami, but it's definitely a young piece that they should be having. I know they have Van Noy. I slipped up a couple months ago by saying he was on the Lions, which he originally was. Then he went to the Pats, then to the Dolphins. They still got Jerome Baker in the linebacker core, since I just skipped to Van Noy. They have pieces. I mean, you also have who they drafted. What's his name? Oh man, I know his first name is Christian, but the guy from Clemson, their D tackle that they drafted number 13 last year. I keep wanting to call him Christian Wilkinson, but it doesn't matter. The defensive tackle that they drafted last year, number 13th overall, still has potential. And then there's not really too much of a pass rush presence there in Miami, but they're putting pieces together. They went from the worst team we've ever seen in history to a team that's actually not too horrible. Looking at the secondary, they have the best corner core in the NFL, hands down. Just putting it out there. You have Byron Jones, Xavier Howard, and then Noah Igbenogany. I don't even know why they got Igbenogany. That was just a flex pick right there. I think that could have gotten probably a pass rusher or a Yetur Gross-Matos would have been great there. But I mean, they really had to flex on everybody and get Noah Igbenogany. But yeah, they have the best corner core in the NFL, hands down. Safeties, they're still working on it though. So ever since they lost Minkah Fitzpatrick to my Steelers, which, it ended up becoming Austin Jackson, I think. So they got protection on their offensive line, and then their corners are going to be able to make up for their lack of depth in the secondary. So I think that it was a good trade for both teams, honestly. Even though I think Austin Jackson went a little bit early, but good team all around. I mean, I know I've spent a lot of time explaining this team. Let's go right into the weeks. Week 1, Miami goes to New England, and right now we have a little bit of quarterback. What the hell's going on? Austin Jackson's extremely raw, so you don't have a bona fide left tackle there yet. So I think New England's going to actually be a lot more comfortable with either. Well, right now we are discussing this with this record is going to be with Jarrett Stidham, but we'll discuss what it's like with Cam Newton. With Jarrett Stidham, he's going to be a good enough option right now just to. I think they're going to just pound the rock with Sony Michel, and then just do short passes. Even though the Miami Dolphins, like, they could easily win this game, guys. I don't really think that New England is that talented. I think that this is a very close game here. I think that the Foxborough climate is going to be the biggest factor here. And as you can see, the home team wins a lot of times with in this situation. It's just because Miami is a beast at home. You do not want to face Miami in Miami. And then I kind of felt bad for Jacksonville, to be 100% honest here. On paper, Miami should probably win. Whatever. But yeah, New England, they still have Stephon Gilmore. I think that it will be more due to bad quarterback play and then a new environment than anything else. And with Cam Newton, I think obviously it's still going to be a win. I think Cam Newton's just right, like especially week 1. I think Jarrett Stidham should start just so Cam Newton continues to get comfortable with this team, and then like maybe if things go bad with Jarrett, sub him in. So regardless, I think New England wins this first game. And then kind of like we won, Brady. What did you do? I think they lost week 1 to New Orleans. Let's check that out really quick. They did. So it would appear as if New England is fine without Tom. And again, home team win. So again, like very interesting. 0-7 away, 5-1 home. But next week, Buffalo goes to Miami. Again, this climate compared to Buffalo, New York is absolutely insane. Go check out the Buffalo vid. It ain't getting any views, which I'm surprised. But then again, Bills Mafia they don't give a shit about what you think, because they're very, very, very strong-minded in their opinions. So they don't really care about what some kid in California says about their own Bills. So, I mean, the Bills, they're a damn solid team, but you're just going to a very different area, very different climate, and they're going to be gassed in the third and the fourth, man. And that's where the difference makers happen, is when you're like, I don't care. There's freaking Houston was up 24-0, and then Patrick Mahomes came back. I think it was a 2% probability of winning, and it's like, okay, like it's just the third and the fourth. If you just get gassed out, it is no bueno. You see any sport, if you get gassed out at the end, it is not good, because teams let their rallying cry, and then if you're not ready for it, you're gonna get fucked. So I think Buffalo, especially here, especially with Josh Allen leading the group, is going to be fucked week 2. Next week, Miami goes to Jacksonville. Felt a little bit bad for Jacksonville, and they're definitely a different type of environment than Miami, even though they're both like muggy. I think Jacksonville has its own little charm up there in Florida versus like Southern Florida, and of course, my dumbass might just totally screw up the geography right there. Who knows? Jacksonville might actually be pretty damn close to Miami. I don't think it is, though. Guys, correct me if I'm wrong. But Jacksonville, they have the ability. They have a solid team. It's just, again, similar to Detroit. They're just not having enough pieces to be contenders. So right here, I think they can slip a couple games. A lot of these teams in the NFL, since there's like really not that many scrubs anymore, a lot of these teams can like surprisingly upset if guys play better than what they actually normally do, which is what we see here in week 4. Seattle going to Miami, very interesting climate. I mean, Seattle's defense is not really the best. Seahawks fans like to harp on their defense. It's really the defensive coordinator and Pete Carroll who do an amazing job getting the best out of their players. And unfortunately, they're going to be gassed in the third and the fourth, man. Like, this is the thing. You're going to be gassed at the end, and not even Russell Wilson can save you guys when, like, the entire team is completely dead. So, cheers to Miami. Also, that corner core is going to make it very difficult for DK Metcalf and then Tyler Lockett to be able to do too much. Next week, Miami goes to San Fran. There's no real need in explaining this, guys. Insane pass rush as well. Going to be able to eat up Miami's offensive line. And then Richard Sherman might take advantage of some Fitzmagic or some Tua timidness. Oh, that's a really weird saying, but whatever. Yeah, no need to explain that. Next week, Miami goes to Denver. The exact same thing. I talk about Miami being a very particular climate. Denver is that times 1,000 because you can't even breathe up there, man. You can't even breathe in Colorado. I swear. So, I mean, I think Denver is like these guys. Miami's gonna be gassed out by the third or the fourth, maybe by the second. So they're gonna be needing their oxygen masks, and it's just gonna be no bueno. The next week, LA Chargers go to Miami. Not too drastic of a difference in climates, but LA Chargers, their offensive line is abysmal, worse than Miami's, and I think that Miami's gonna take advantage of that. And the Chargers, their defense is damn solid, but I think Miami is gonna be able to scrape out a victory here, just because the offense is abysmal, guys. The next week, LA Rams are going to Miami, so Miami gets to give the double bird to the Los Angeles teams, and cheers to Miami, man. I think that they're far better than LA. These teams both have very similar problems, except the Chargers are have a lot more depth at defense. So the Rams, I mean, God, as a LA resident, it's just horrible. I don't know why it's not LAR, but whatever. The Rams, I mean, they're almost a worse offensive line than the Chargers, if not worse. All they do is have Whitworth pretty much nowadays. And they lost Todd Gurley. They lost Brandon Cooks. You don't really have shit. So, I mean, the secondary is going to shut them down, and then the defensive line is going to do a good enough job bottling up Cam Akers and the nothing of the offensive line. And when you can't do offense, you can't really win games. Defense can do a good enough job, but if your offense can't back you up, then you're kind of screwed. Next week, Miami goes to Arizona. Arizona's a super powerful team, guys. I mean, I'm sure that if you're subbed to me, you've watched that video because it's by far my biggest video on record. I think it's bigger than my top 3 combined. So thank you guys for watching that. I mean, I'm very passionate about the Arizona Cardinals, and I mean, I am far from a fan of Arizona. I just love Kyler Murray. I believe in him, and then the fact that they got DeAndre Hopkins to add to that lethal core is just absolutely insane. I think this team is super underrated. This is not a shot at Miami. They're even fully rested, too. That makes it even worse. Just Arizona's a beast, a juggernaut of a team. And people have been saying, Arizona lost twice to Seattle. They normally split the series. They could go 14-2, man. They could steal the freaking NFC from San Francisco very easily, which is very scary. So, I mean, cheers to Arizona. They could possibly be literally the top of the NFC, just like that. From no playoffs to the top of the NFC into the Super Bowl. I think they have Super Bowl contention. Next week, New York goes to Miami. We're giving this one to the Dolphins. Miami, again, you're going from friggin' New York. Pretty much they're going from New Jersey. MetLife's in New Jersey, guys. All the way to Miami. It's going to be totally a horrible environment. And then Sam Darnold can't even breathe because he has freaking mono. Trust me, as a person who has had mono, it takes you a damn long time to get your freaking ability to have some endurance back. Now, obviously, that's a little bit of a joke. He definitely has his ability to, breathe. But still, Sam Darnold is he's not built for this type of shit, man. He's not. So, Sam, you're kind of fucked. You guys are going to be gassed out when you go to Miami. The only guy who won't be is the guy who's from Alabama in Quinnen Williams. So, caps off to him. But, yeah, Miami is just no bueno for you guys. The next week, Miami goes to New York after a bye week. Both teams are fully rested. Both teams have extra preparation here. I'm going to give this one to New York. I mean, I know I've literally been just going with the home team for every game except Kansas City. But I think that is how crucial Miami's home field advantage is. This is an upset. I was about to give it to Miami, guys. I'm going to be 100% honest. I was about to give Miami the dub here. But, voice crack. But still, I just sense that Sam Darnold might be able to pull one or two out just because he's closing in on that 5th-year extension option. because I'm pretty sure that happens this year. And he probably does not want to go like 4-12 or like 3-13, which I'm like looking down like slightly at the win-loss tie record. I'm like, ugh, for New York, because that is no bueno. But yeah, Sam Darnold will just have a little bit of a fire in his belly for this one, and he's gonna pull out a dub. The next week, since he goes to Miami, again, just they're gonna be gassed in the third, and that's just gonna be not good. So here it's more of a level playing field because Miami and New York are just in a comfortable zone. Here, when you just go to Miami, you're just not going to be able to last. That's just the thing. Unless you're from the South, which like a Tennessee or Jacksonville. Apart from that, like if you're from the North, you're just completely out of your zone. The one team that defies it, Kansas City, because they just paid $500 million to their quarterback. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's self-explanatory. The following week, New England goes to Miami. You know this one, guys. Miami's going to win at home. Very interesting. Like, if Cam Newton were here, I think New England still loses, but the offense will be able to be better. I think the rest of the team will let Cam down by being gassed out by the fourth. But Cam Newton won't be. He'll be able to continue to put up points, but not at the rate that Miami would be because the defense is just too tired versus a very healthy defense here. Next week, Miami goes to Vegas. Vegas fans there they didn't not like the fact they were going 9-7, but I mean, they're just in a very tough division, one, and then number two, it's off and on with Derek Carr. That I think when they're at home, I think Derek Carr likes his home field advantage, loves to impress the crowd, and he's going to. And finally, the last week, Miami goes to Buffalo. It's winter time, and you're going up to Buffalo, New York. This ain't no freaking South Beach, and you're going to be in the snow. Buffalo gets its revenge by having the completely different climate, including an amazing defense. Josh Allen's going to be much more comfortable in this situation, and therefore, Buffalo wins and then is able to take the division. Oh, wow. I mean, if they lost, let's just see what happens. If they lost... Okay, Miami becomes, oh my, look at that, in the bottom left, guys, over here. So if Miami won that game, they go to the playoffs, and Buffalo does not. Just because of that, that's how much of a shift there is. 4-11, just like that. This game decides the playoffs, and I think that Josh Allen needs to prove that the Buffalo Bills are the leaders of the division. So let me know what you guys think. I mean, I am much more of a Miami believer than a lot of people just because, I mean, look at the home win totals. I mean, it is true. I'm pretty sure 70% of home games are won, but, I mean, that's just because you're comfortable. In Miami, it's a very unique climate, very similar to Kansas City, very similar to Denver. It's a very unique area, and a lot of teams aren't ready for it. So being able to have that extra gas in the gas tank is going to be the determining factor in a lot of these games. So let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on the far side. Peace.